welcome to Loopy Mabel's Closet. I'm Jane. So today's video is a bit of a pattern review. I've been making a skirt, I know, the Fiore Skirt by Closet Core Patterns. I thought I would share it with you in case you've never heard of it, or maybe you just like to see what it's like to be made up. I thought I'd share it with you. So please stay tuned and I shall be back here very soon. So hi everyone and welcome back. So before I continue, what am I wearing? I am wearing my stripy Freya top by Tilly and the Buttons. This is one of the very first jersey tops I made when I came back to dressmaking a few years ago. It's super simple to make. So if you fancy having to go to something really simple, start you out with sewing with stretch fabrics, then this is a great little top. So this is quite old now and I've worn it so many times and it just never lets me down. It's a great layering piece. And I've just got it underneath my very first Poppy Pinafore draft that I, wearable toile, shall we say, that I made. It's got no pockets in this one because I forgot to put them in. And I was so concentrating on designing it all and getting it right, I forgot to add the pockets, but no big issue. I can add them in, I suppose, if I wanted to. So yes, this is today's outfit. Oh, and I've just got my gorgeous silk tie necklace that the lovely Patty sent me all the way from Nova Scotia. So hi Patty, if you're watching, I just love this necklace. It goes with so many things. It's got all the colours of my wardrobe in it. So yeah, so on to today's video. It's all about a pattern review for the Fiore Skirt stroke fabric that I used in conjunction as my role as ambassador for the Sewing Directory. It's an absolutely brilliant online resource. If you've never been into the Sewing Directory, I highly recommend you go over there. I'll put the link for it in the box below. I'll link everything that I mentioned in the video in the box below. And if you ever need anything to do with dressmaking, advice, hints, tips, tutorials, you'll find it there. So every couple of months I can choose something to sew, choose some fabric and obviously blog for them. So this project was the Fiore Skirt. So it's the Fiore Skirt by Closet Core Patterns. And obviously this is quite an old pattern, I think, because it's still got their old name. There were previously Closet Case patterns. So if I say Closet Case by mistake throughout this video, I apologise, but they are called Closet Core Patterns now. Just had to change the light there. So as I was saying, yeah, so that is the pattern that I've been working on, as I say, the Fiore Skirt. It's part of their Rome collection. She brought out a collection with different patterns in it, the Rome collection, and I've always had my eye on this pattern for quite some time, but I'm not a great skirt wearer as such. If you follow me, you'll know I tend to live in my jeans or trousers or dresses, but layered over jeans. I'm not a great one for skirt on their own or anything like that. And I thought, you know, come on Jane, try something different. So I thought I'd try this one because I've had my eye on it for quite a while. Now this great little pattern because it's got 3 skirt options. There's the back and there's a better picture there. So it's an A-line skirt with a little bit of a flare to it. So it's a really, really nice silhouette and very flattering, I think. And you've got option A, which is just nothing, no detail, just a zip back fastening. Then you've got option B with like a wrap front, quirky wrap front on an angle there. And then you've got option C, view C, with the button front. And that's the one I went for, view C. Good size range. It ranges from size 0 to size 20, which covers a waist size 24 inch all the way up to 39 inch. And finished garment waist measurement is 25 inch to 40 inch waist. I chose size 10 based on the finished garment measurements. My waist is 29-ish, 29 and a half. And that comes up with size 10. So I went for size 10 and the finished waist measurement is 30 and a half. So it does have that little bit of room on me. Now, if I was just to wear the skirt on its own in the summer, it is a little bit loose on my waist, but it's great for tucking. I've got enough ease in that waistband to tuck in a blouse, tuck in a thin jumper type of thing. So I'm not overly bothered. But if I was just going to wear that skirt with nothing tucked in, it's a little bit on the big side, a little bit on the loose side, I would say, but apart from that, it's fine. So the measurements are fairly spot on, the finished garment measurements, and as I say, good size range. So I went for this denim, and this is a Modelo Springfield range denim, and this is the indigo blue. This is what I've got left. I had 2 meters and I've got a little bit left. I would have had a little bit more left actually, but I'll explain later. And this is the indigo blue, so nothing too dark. Looks quite dark on the screen, but it's not the darkest of denims. It's got some elastane in it, so it's got a little bit of stretch. It's got some elastane and it's also got some poly in it, so it gives it a little bit of stretch and it makes it a little bit more softer, so it's not like rigid hard denim. So it's got a nice drape. It's medium weight. I think it's 295 GSM. A nice weight. Good bit of good structure, but it's quite, you know, got a nice drape to it too, which I thought would be perfect for the skirt. I'll pop some pictures up of me wearing it and how I've styled it. Now I went for full on top stitching. You can see me wearing it. I went a full on jean top stitching, so you can see there I went on for, I just chose that classic denim top stitching thread. I didn't use any top stitching thread, I just used good old normal sewing thread, and I had this colour on my rack and I just thought matches perfectly with that denim colour, you know, the denim thread top stitching colour. And I just went full on, so I top stitched everything in sight, and I even did pretend seam, flat fell seam type of things. I'll show you in a minute what I did with the seam, but I even did that. And there's the back. It's not part of the instructions, any of the top stitching, but I just thought, go the whole hog, why not? Because obviously you top stitch the button placket and you top stitch the pockets, so I thought, well, I'll pick out that colour and I'll just carry on and top stitch everything in sight. So that's how it looks. I'm really pleased with it. I just chose some nice wooden buttons, so it picks out the orange colour in the thread, and I just thought just perfect colour buttons. And I just put 5 in. You can put as many buttons as you like in, and obviously whichever size button you want to, but I just went for the 5. And I put the top waistband button going horizontally and the remaining 4 buttons going vertically. So for the top stitching, all I did was stitch the seam as per stitching the seam, and then I overlocked the seam, and then I pressed the seam, so I pressed the seam, so the seam allowance to one side, and I just top stitched very closely down to the edge of the seam, a couple of millimeters away from the seam edge, and then catching that overlocked section in, moved my needle across and did another row of top stitching to give it that denim jean seam look. So that's the back seam. Then I did it on the side seam, so it kind of looks like the real thing, but it's not. And obviously followed through on the waistband and on the pockets. I love the pockets. They're like a proper grown-up patch pocket, so they're not just like plonked on patch pocket, square patch pocket where there's nothing much about them. These are obviously in the side seam, built into the side seam, but they've got a nice shape, that lovely curved shape, and obviously on an angle. And then I just did a little bit of top stitching detail at the top, because you can. And as I say, it's a lovely weight denim, so it's got that lovely structure to it, and it holds its shape, but it's not overly rigidly stiff because it's got that elastane in it. And I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. I love how I've styled it. So the jumper, I don't know whether you can notice, obviously I've finished my jumper. I was chatting to you about this jumper in my last cosy vlog. It's the Lawrenson sweater by Lily Kate, and I did that change of tension, shall we say, right the way through the middle of it. You can see it there. It's going to bug me. I changed, foolishly went from normal knitting. I thought I'll do a little, try some continental knitting, and that's the tension, the difference in my tension with continental knitting. And then I didn't like the continental knitting, so I went back to normal knitting. Never thought anything about it until I come to look at it and thought, oh no, you can see where the tension's changed. So really I should go and unpick it, but I'm not going to. Because I'm not going to. The jury's out with the jumper. I like it. I love the style of it, and I love the colour of the wool, and it goes so well. It wasn't planned, but it does go so well with the top stitching, and that was not planned. But for me, I think the Aran yarn's a little bit too thick for me for this type of jumper. I just felt a little bit restricted in it. I don't know if that's the right word, just a little bit too thick for me. I think it would be nice in a double knit. So I have emailed her and said, if I was to do it in a double knit, what would you recommend for needle sizes? Obviously, because it's a finer knit, so I'm going to have to use a finer needle, and obviously the gauge will be all different. So I just wondered if she knew, she could tell me a bit of advice on how to change the yarn weight and obviously the needle size. And I would make it again in a double knit, because it's great easy knit, because you knit it from the top down. I know I'm digressing from the skirt here, but just wanted to explain. So you knit it from the top down, and then you knit the sleeves in. It's all built in. It's lovely. There's no sewing up for any seams at all. No seams to sew at all. All you've got to sew at the end is the neckband. And as I say, because it's in the Aran, I just think it makes the neckband quite thick. I mean, and in the pattern, I think it says do 17 rows and then turn it over. I don't even think I did the 17 rows because I just thought it was going to be too big. So I'm glad I didn't do the 17 rows. Yeah, I will wear it. Obviously I'm going to wear it, and obviously I'll try that tension row is going to bug me, and you can see in the pictures, but I don't think anybody's going to come and point at me in the street and go, you've changed your tension there, haven't you? But yeah, it's annoying, and because I'm a perfectionist, that's going to annoy me. So I could unpick it. I don't think I will, because the jury's out with the thickness of the wool. So yeah, but anyway, great jumper. I love the style. I love the statement sleeves, 3/4 sleeves, those lovely gathered shoulder section, really nice, and it goes so well with the skirt. So I've styled it with the skirt, and I'm really pleased with the styling of it. And the skirt, back to the skirt, yeah, really lovely. I'm so pleased. I did not wash my denim beforehand, so I'll be naughty. I just went straight in and stitched it up. But yeah, it is recommended that you wash it beforehand, but I just wanted to make it. Didn't have the patience to wash it and dry it and then sew it up, so it did really need pre-washing. The only thing I think I found that the hem is a little bit stingy to half an inch hem, and you turn it over by 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch again and top stitch. So it's a tiny little hem. I just think it should have been more like that type of hem. A decent hem, but there you go. I mean, it's stitched up lovely, no problem at all stitching the hem. The only issue I had was with the button placket, and that's why I cut out. I would have had more spare fabric actually. First of all, I cut the waistband out on 2 layers of fabric, and obviously I didn't need to. I wasn't concentrating there, so I had an extra waistband cut out, so that was a bit of a waste. But then when I come to put the waistband on, I stitched it all up. I got so far, I didn't do the buttonholes, but I got everything else stitched. Come to put the waistband on, the waistband was nowhere near big enough. And I thought, why is my waistband way out? The waistband just was nowhere near. And the instructions said it had to hang over by 1.5 centimetres. And I just thought, well, mine's nowhere near that. So then I cut out another waistband, but I cut out another waistband in a size 12 waistband, just so I had plenty of extra. Then I thought, there must be a reason why my waistband just was too small. I must have done something wrong. And when I did the button placket, my button placket originally was not this wide. It was much thinner button placket, and I thought that didn't seem right either, because it was too thin. It was really narrow button placket, and I thought, by the time you put your buttons on, your buttons are going to hang over. It just didn't seem right. So I went back to the instructions, and I must write to her and tell her what I found. But when it comes to doing the button placket, it said you've got some notches in the pattern to fold for the placket. So you fold it over first of all by 1.5 centimeters, and then you fold it over again to match the notches. But when it said fold it over again, it said, and the folded placket should be 19 millimeters wide. So mine was 19 millimeters wide when I finished it. I just went off the 19, so I folded it over, folded it again, so it measured 19 millimeters wide. But no, when I read it again, 19 millimeters wide, or 1 1/8 of an inch wide. Well, 19 millimeters is not 1 1/8 of an inch. 1 1/8 of an inch is not short of 30 millimeters, and that's obviously a typo error. So if I'd have looked at the inch section and gone off the inches, I probably would have done it right in the first place, but I went off the millimeters for whatever reason. And that's why my waistband didn't fit, because obviously I hadn't took my skirt in enough on the plackets. So I had to unpick the waistband. I just unpicked to about there and unpicked to about there. And then I took off all the top stitching, and then I refolded the placket so it did actually measure in the end 1 1/8 wide, and it does look a much better width button placket. And then obviously that's why my waistband didn't fit. So when I redid that, my original waistband would have obviously fit perfectly. So that's another reason why I didn't have as much fabric left over. So I will write to her and just say I think there's a bit of a typo error. Well, in my mind, I think there is. And apart from that, and I just think the hem's a little bit stingy on the, turning it over. I would have liked to have turned over, a couple of centimetres and then top stitched. But apart from that, a great sewing pattern, really good sewing pattern if you want something, you're getting a little bit more confident with your sewing, you fancy having to go at a skirt, tackling a skirt. This is a great pattern. As I say, you've got 3 options to choose from, and each option I would think would be as simple as the other option. Just maybe got a few more steps to do in view B and view C than you do have for view A, because obviously view A is just the front and the back and a zip, whereas view B you've got the wrap over bit and you've got a little bit of a pocket going on, or view C you've got the placket and the pockets. So you've got a few more steps to do, but nothing technical, and her instructions are always really clear, and you get good value for your money. So I would recommend it. So that's my Fiore skirt, and this denim fabric, I couldn't have picked a better denim. I just think it's absolutely buttery gorgeous, really lovely denim fabric. And I think this is a second Springfield, Modelo fabric. I'm sure it's the second one in the Springfield range that I've used before, and I've never been disappointed. It's just beautiful fabric. And good old normal thread for my top stitching, so who knew? So you don't always have to have all the gadgets and gizmos and the things that they tell you to have. You can sometimes quite easily get away with it. I didn't even change my needle onto a denim needle. I've got all the needles, got the denim needle. I forgot to change my needle, and I didn't change it, and I realised halfway through, but I thought I didn't need it because this fabric was so lovely to sew with, so lovely to handle. It was just a dream to work with. Oh, beautiful. And I didn't, so I didn't really need to change to a denim needle anyway. So, yeah, so that's my review of the Fiore skirt. Let me know if you've had a go of making the skirt. Which view did you go for if you did, and what fabric did you use? I think this will be absolutely gorgeous again in maybe like corduroy or a lovely velvet, something like that for the autumn, winter months. And in the summer, spring, summer, linen, maybe a nice floral cotton viscose for a little bit more drape. You have to be careful though, if you're going to go for something more of a drapey fabric, that she recommends that you don't go for something drapey with option view C because of the pocket. The pocket would end up being all saggy. You need something with a little bit of weight, a little bit of structure to hold the shape of the pocket. You know, if you went for something like a viscose, I can just imagine that being all out of shape and a little bit droopy, but she does say that in the instructions. So yeah, overall 10 out of 10, great skirt. I really do like it. Can't wait for the little bit more warmer weather to come, wear it with just bare legs and some sandals, and I think I'll get quite a lot of wear out of this as well. And I definitely fancy having a go at doing all 3 views. I think all great skirts. but I'd like to make this again maybe in a linen or something like that. But yeah, so if you enjoyed today's video, if you enjoyed today's review, I hope I've enlightened you, I hope I've helped you in maybe going for this pattern if you've been looking at it and not sure whether it was for you. So you've got the 2 length options too, above the knee or below the knee. So again, good options. So thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'd love for you to come over and see me over on Instagram. Follow me along there and you'll see lots more daily outfit inspirations. I just open my wardrobe and I create an outfit out of my wardrobe each day, and I have a lot of fun doing it. So come over there and follow me and you'll see what I get up to as well. But until the next time, thanks for joining me today, and I shall see you on my next video. Please take care, and as always, happy sewing everyone.